Hi, I'm Susan Lipp, Editor-in-Chief of Trust and Estates, and I'm here today with David Treitel of American Tax Returns Ltd, and also an expert on international tax issues. So David, what should Americans overseas who haven't yet filed their U.S. tax returns, what should they be doing now?
Americans are blessed in many ways, one of which is the fact that America has in some ways the simplest tax system in the entire universe. It's worldwide, it's forever. Outside of America, there are approximately 7 million Americans, and out of those 7 million, according to IRS statistics, only approximately 800,000 of them file tax returns. The numbers are hugely short of what they should be. And the IRS, of course, are looking for tax returns because they want money, because they want people to be compliant to do what the IRS would like them to do. Mm-hmm. Having said this, the IRS from September of 2012 are launching a new program specifically to help people whose lives are not too complicated outside of America become compliant. And what the IRS want from those people are three things. They want income tax returns for the last 3 years, and that's a huge blessing because US tax law could allow the IRS to go back far longer than 3 years. So just 3 years of tax returns, and tax returns in that context are fairly simple things. They're history lessons saying how much money you made last year. They're no more than that. And generally speaking, in most foreign countries, tax rates are fairly high. So the UK, Germany, most of Europe, Far East, tax rates are much higher than US rates. So if you file a US return for the last 3 years, typically you won't owe any money to the IRS, but you have to file a return. Mm-hmm. In addition to income tax returns, just saying how much money you made, the US has a system which most other countries do not have of information returns. And the most common one of those is the report of foreign bank and financial accounts, known as the FBAR. And the FBAR return is a report listing all your foreign bank and financial accounts. So to come into this new program from September of 2012, Americans overseas who have not complied need to file 3 income tax returns listing their income and 6 years worth of these FBARs listing their foreign bank and financial accounts. And in addition to that, the IRS will want a sworn statement explaining to some degree why they are late and explaining that they will be good people going forward. So you're coming in from the dark side, you're going to the good side, you'll be good in future. So this is really excellent. The problems with the program is that you have to know what the IRS require, and for many Americans who live overseas, perhaps they left as children, perhaps they were born overseas to an American parent, or they left for college and they've never filed in America before, the system is quite complex. Filling the forms is complicated. The IRS website is not the easiest thing to navigate yourself around. Mm-hmm. What the IRS is saying, to come into this new program with just 3 years of income tax returns, you have to owe less than $1,500 for any of those 3 years. So you have to know you owe less than $1,500. So for many of those people, taking some professional advice to make sure you're filling the forms in right, to make sure you owe less than $1,500 is great. Some people, however, will owe more than $1,500, typically because perhaps they've sold their house and they made a gain on it, or they sold some stocks, or they live in a country, perhaps in the Middle East, where there is very low income tax. They may owe more than $1,500, in which case you can't use this program. And the IRS do have alternative programs out there. If you've done bad things, if you've hidden money from the IRS, there is an offshore voluntary disclosure program which requires, instead of 3 years, it requires 8 years worth of tax returns, a much stiffer penalty, 27.5% penalty, instead of very low penalties. And for some people, that's a good program.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens if those Americans just decide to do nothing?
If you do nothing, which is certainly what the majority have done to date, the IRS are saying that they will find you, and the IRS will find you largely in the future through information exchange. And in 2013 and 14, we have coming in what's known as FATCA, the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. FATCA will force foreign non-American financial institutions to start sending names, addresses, account numbers, balances of accounts to the IRS. So from 2013 or 14 onwards, the IRS will start finding more people overseas who are American who have not filed their tax returns. And of course that's on top of existing information exchange. It's on top of the fact that people visit frequently to the States, they go through immigration, they identify themselves in so many different ways to the United States. Perhaps when their children are born, they register them, they get them a passport. Indeed, these days an American overseas renewing their own passport, that name, address, information is passed automatically to the IRS already. So the IRS has other ways of finding people if you don't comply.
Mm-hmm. Do many Americans overseas have trusts?
Surprisingly huge numbers of Americans overseas have trusts, and it's not just the trust set up for grandchildren or the trust set up for future college education, but the majority probably of pension plans overseas are constructed as trusts. And so along with the income tax returns, for example, if you're going for this program, you may find you have to file reports of foreign trusts. And the penalties for failure to file the foreign trust returns that the IRS have are potentially huge. So can an American overseas go in for this new program? Probably, if they have an individual pension plan, a personal pension plan, which many people do because saving for retirement is a good thing in whichever country you live. You may find there are additional foreign trust reporting. So Canada has a special agreement with the US and the treaty, and the United Kingdom treaty covers pension plans. So treaties out there that may assist, but you still need to understand those rules.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you so much, David. For more information, please go to wealthmanagement.com.